You know, I was just standing there flipping burgers on the grill, the smell of smoky beef filling the crisp Montana air, surrounded by my old SWAT buddies laughing about that time we took down a meth lab in the Rockies, when suddenly the door bursts open and these three clowns in what looked like bargain bin cop uniforms come charging in, yelling about illegal gatherings and how they're gonna slap cuffs on all of us. My heart skipped a beat, not from fear, but from that gut twist of, what the hell is this now? And there, peeking from her fancy SUV across the street, was Elena Vargas, our self-proclaimed neighborhood watch queen, smirking like she'd finally won the war she'd been waging on me since I moved into Grandpa's old cabin 6 months back. It all started innocently enough, or so I thought, me inheriting this quiet spot in the Whispering Pines community, thinking it'd be a peaceful retreat after years on the force. But Elena, with her iron grip on the so-called association that wasn't even official, saw me as some outsider threat to her perfect little empire of trimmed lawns and quiet evenings. She'd nitpick everything. My truck parked an inch too far from the curb, noise violations from a single chainsaw session clearing fallen branches, and I could feel her eyes on me constantly, like she was building a case to run me out, driven by this deep-seated need to control every square foot of land around here. Maybe because her own life had crumbled after her husband ditched her for a younger model, leaving her broken bitter, channeling all that rage into power plays over property lines. But that day, hiring fake cops to crash our reunion? That crossed into crazy territory. I mean, these guys had badges that screamed Halloween prop, one with his upside down, another sporting sneakers with his pants, and their guns dripping what smelled like grape Kool-Aid from the barrel. I set down my tongs real slow, hands up like we trained for, and said, "Fellas, mind showing some ID before you start throwing around arrests?" Their leader stammered, eyes darting like a cornered raccoon, and that's when Lena Brooks, our team's bomb tech nursing a beer across the deck, started chuckling low. "Weapons? Buddy, the deadliest thing here is Marco's chili recipe, unless that squirt gun of yours counts as a threat." The air thickened with that mix of tension and absurdity, my team shifting subtly into positions we drilled 1,000 times, turning the deck into a kill zone without a word, while those actors, yeah, turns out they were from some local theater troupe Elena paid off, spilled everything. She said it was for a docudrama on neighborhood disputes, gave us scripts and all, swore it'd be quick cash. And there Elena stood outside, phone glued to her ear, her triumphant grin fading as she realized her plan was unraveling faster than a cheap sweater. I felt this surge of vindication mixed with pity, thinking, how far do you have to fall to fake authority just to bully someone off their land? But as we grilled those poor saps, pun intended, things got deeper, darker. Lena pulled me aside, whispering, "Jake, this ain't just petty HOA crap. Look at these docs she gave him. Lists of properties. Folks who've sold out cheap after endless harassment." It hit me then this wasn't about my cabin alone. Elena had been systematically clearing the area using fake complaints, bogus inspections, even anonymous threats to force sales below value, all funneled to some shadowy development firm she fronted. Driven by greed, sure, but rooted in that betrayal scar, turning her from a sharp real estate lawyer into this manipulative force hell-bent on rebuilding her fortune through land grabs. We dug further, Marco snapping pics of her frantic pacing, and that's when I remembered Grandpa Elias's dying words. "If trouble finds you, check the old chest in the basement. Truth's buried there." Down I went, heart pounding like a drum in my chest, and what I found wasn't family heirlooms. It was his hidden life as an undercover fed, journals packed with notes on Elena's real game. The caves under our land serving as a stash house for the Valdez cartel, Grandpa documenting shipments, payoffs, even murders to keep it secret for 5 long years. The pieces clicked like a loaded mag. Elena's association was cover for cartel ops, her harassment a way to empty the area for unhindered runs, and now she'd escalated, calling in goons who pulled up in blacked-out trucks, stepping out with that cold-eyed swagger, Elena barking, "Mr. Harlan, time to discuss your exit. Resist, and life gets complicated." Her voice laced with that fake sweetness masking venom, her muscle flexing tattoos that screamed, "Don't test us." But we were ready. Lena on the phone to her DEA contacts, me activating Grandpa's surveillance rig, feeds showing Elena herself overseeing kills down in those damp tunnels, a nosy surveyor who'd mapped too much, a reporter sniffing around sales, even the local sheriff who'd tried flipping on her. "You think you can expose me?" she'd sneered in one grainy clip, gun steady as she pulled the trigger. Watching it, I felt rage boil up, not just for Grandpa's unfinished fight, But for every family she'd shattered, her motives crystal. Power to never be vulnerable again. Land to launder cartel cash. A twisted empire built on fear. Then came the storm. Elena's panic call bringing a dozen cartel cleaners, armed to the teeth, thinking they'd wipe us like amateurs. But oh man, the turnaround was poetry. Federal choppers whirring in as our SWAT crew turned the property into a fortress, Lena picking off threats from behind the grill with sniper calm. These jokers fight dirty, but we fight smart. Marco calling shots from the roof, bullets whizzing as Elena screamed, "Burn it all! Leave no one!" Only for her own guys to turn, one yelling, "You skimmed our product, replaced it with flour, traitor!" And bam, they lit her up. Her designer blouse blooming red as she crumpled, shock freezing her face like she'd finally met karma head on. Agents swarmed the caves, hauling out millions in cash, bricks of what was left of the real stuff. We'd swapped most with baking goods days prior, a little prank Grandpa would have loved, exposing payoffs to the mayor, who'd shown up blustering about eminent domain, only to get cuffed mid-sentence, stammering, "I was just helping development." As Agent Riley Thompson deadpanned, "Yeah, cartel development, save it for the judge." In the end, Elena survived those bullets, but barely, dragged off in cuffs, gasping deals that fell on deaf ears, sentenced to life in Supermax. Her empire crumbled, every bribe traced, over 300 arrests rippling across borders, the Valdez network gutted like a fish. Families got their land back, restitution flowing like rain after drought. Old Tom Wilkins, who'd lost his ranch to her schemes, rebuilt bigger, naming it Vargas-Free Acres with a wink. We turned the caves into a memorial for the victims, Grandpa's name etched proud, and now our annual BBQ's a community thing, toasting justice with beers and stories. But here's the thing that lingers. Elena's son, turning informant after seeing her cross that final line, testifying against his own mom. Was it betrayal or redemption? Makes you wonder, right? How thin the line is between victim and villain, if power corrupts or just reveals what's buried. What do you think? Ever faced a bully like that, where justice felt sweet but left questions? Drop a comment, share your take on right and wrong in these neighborhood wars. Hit like if good folks winning hits home. Subscribe for more real talk tales where underdogs bite back. Thanks for listening. Stay vigilant out there.